did not know, had randomly booked theater tickets, and it happened to be on Shakespeare's birthday. And the other fact you gave me was that it wasn't just his birthday, it was also the day of his death,
It's true.
which is like tying his whole life in a little bow. But yeah, we were there, and they had set up these tents all the way down the main street where the birthplace house is. And when we got there, there were like, it was starting to get a bit busy, and we got lunch in a cafe, and we managed to find some seating outside, but it was such a beautiful day. We were looking at that tent and thinking, God, that would be a lovely place to sit.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that is literally, it was just there for anyone who was coming to see the parade or coming to, enjoy the busking and the street theater and stuff, to just relax and have a cup of tea and bring a sandwich. And so the whole day, like, amazing atmosphere. There was bands down by the riverside near the theater, just open air performances, people in costume, like everything from, Tudor gowns and wimples and breeches, right through to, I saw a family with little girl wearing fairy wings and pointy ears, and mom and dad were also wearing fairy wings and pointy ears.
What is it? Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes. Exactly. Oh, I hope, unless maybe that's what they do every day, but I assumed.
It's their thing. That's how they
Maybe they are actually a family of fairies, but it was absolutely charming. And then the play was extraordinary. I was worried. Like the first 5 minutes, they kind of went into the old English, and I thought, like, I'm not keeping up, because it's intense. Like, this is happening, and we're fighting against so and so, and we're doing this and we're doing that, and I was like, oh man, this is 3 hours. I'm going to be in trouble. But your brain sort of turns a bit of a cog, and you go, okay, now I'm in it now. I think I know what's going on. And they did a great job with the staging to sort of make it really apparent who was who and why they were fighting and when they were fighting, and like it kind of all came.
It all worked out.
It all came together in the end, and 3 hours went by like
was it 3 hours long?
3 hours, and I don't sit still for that long. I don't have that attention span, but yeah. It was,
I'm so pleased it worked out, and what incredible. A day for it as well. Like, I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, God, I hope she's got her SPF.
Stunning day. I put my SPF on. We had chips by the riverside. It was just like, it was a dream.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. A little fabby day out.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Shall we get into it? Do you fancy?
I'm ready. I'm hoping that we're going to get a recap here, because there was a lot happening in our first half.
For sure. It's the same document as last time. Do you want me to just pop
on it? I've got it.
Oh, you're ready. You're ready.
I'm ready. I'm all over it.
So yes, welcome back everybody to our story of Eleanor of Aquitaine. Last week we covered a lot of Eleanor, but there's just so much to go that we're going to have to do another episode on it. So you'll hear for part 2. So last time we learned that she was born into opulence, basically, but with a dad who gave her lots of responsibility for commanding the land, I guess, as you'd have it. And she actually married into circumstance. She married Louis the 17th in France. That marriage didn't work out, and she scuttled off. And within 8 weeks of annulling that marriage, she married King Henry II of England.
Didn't hang about.
She's very quick. Henry then kind of becomes mad with power. He kind of gets power hungry. They build this massive empire between them. They have many children, and those children don't seem to like their dad, because he is a bit of a dick, to be fair. And they're trying to revolt against him. They're trying to chuck their dad out of power. Eleanor is a bit mad at Henry as well, because he's not a great husband either. And the last we found them, they were all heading to Paris for like this massive family showdown. Henry's mad at Eleanor. Eleanor's mad at Henry, her husband. Henry's closing in on Eleanor. She's making her own way to Paris. And we kind of left her horseback on the way.
Very exciting.
Yeah, so we will find out in this episode what happens next. Which side did Eleanor pick? Does she support Henry? Does she support her children? Does she support herself? So we will find out. So just a reminder, we are in 1173 at this part in the story. As Eleanor is on her horse going to Paris, in the courts are escalating, so medieval courts, and there's whisperings that she might be behind this entire plot. Very much like with her marriage annulment, that, there was that gossip that people thought she'd planned it from the start and planned the second marriage, straight away.
So they're thinking she's scheming. She's pitting the children against their dad.
Yes, 100%. She's like puppeteering in the background. And that is why Henry goes and captures her. So his soldiers capture Eleanor on the road, and she is returned to Henry. She was arrested on the grounds of treason because of this suspicion. It was so strong.
So they didn't even try to play it off like, oh, we're worried about your safety. Come with us. They were just like, you're a bad guy. And you're a bad egg. You're nicked.
Yeah, basically he just chucks her in a tower, locks her up, throws away the key.
Oh
my God. There's also a suggestion that in some of the views of history is that she was kind of presented as a scapegoat for their son's rebellion. So for all the boys, they kind of like shipped their mother out, blaming most of it on the eldest son, who is also called Henry, young King Henry, and that he's trying to orchestrate this whole thing and blame Eleanor for everything. We don't know who it was, whatever. All we know that Eleanor is trapped in a tower. She's still trapped in this role of wife. She's still trapped in this role as queen, and now she is also prisoner. But it's very important to point out it's quite a cushy prison. We've got silk sheets, we've got servants, we've got things going on. Okay.
So it's like a 5-star prison.
It's a 5-star prison.
Luxury prison.
Yeah. Today, you'd have Sky TV, you'd have Netflix, you'd have it all today. But the biggest problem we've got, I guess, the biggest part of the prison aspect is that she was in solitude. Like, she wasn't allowed to see anyone, which, as we know, very unhealthy, not good for your mental health at all. And she was in solitude for over a decade. No. So this capture is long term. No one really knows where she is. She kind of just gets scooped away and just, left there. And there's nothing she can do. She's completely powerless in this prison. On the outside of prison, what we called last episode was the Devil's Brood. So the kids, basically, they're fighting hell for leather with each other against the empire that she'd built through all these strategic moves. They're putting it at risk, and she's just sat there completely powerless. She can't do anything about it.
Oh God, how frustrating.
Yep. And these men just carry on fighting for 16 years. That's what they're doing. They're just having a go at each other. First they fight against their dad, then they fight against the rebels, and then they fight within each other. So it's like infighting on top of everything else. Eleanor is captive, like we said, but she's also very much used by King Henry as a PR piece. So like she's wheeled out at big moments like Christmas and things. She's kind of like shoved in front of the courts, which I guess is kind of like today in the press, isn't it? She's kind of popped up in front of the press, do your thing, say the right things, and then
show how happy you are. Oh.
And then she'll go back to solitary. Yeah, I know, not great, is it? Not great.
No, not at all.
What she decides to do throughout this is basically try and work as much puppetry as she can from her limited position, because all her great work, remember that empire that we've built from the top Scottish border all the way down to the Spanish border, that empire is very much at risk, and that's what she's built her whole life. That's what she's been focused on. So she tries to live out, very much like Matilda, she tries to live out her own political ambitions through her sons and building power through marriages, basically. So she tries to marry her sons off in different empires just to spread that power and that, I guess, control really throughout different parts of Europe. This goes on until 1183, and then something big happens that essentially gives her a little in, it kind of the key to the door of her comeback, basically. Yes. So that's summarized by this quote, if you wouldn't mind reading that out.
Eleanor reportedly had a prophetic dream of her son Henry wearing 2 crowns, one earthly and one eternal. Shortly after, news arrived that he had died of dysentery. On his deathbed, he begged the king to release his mother. Oh,
Yeah. So apparently she has this like premonition dream that she sees her son wearing two crowns, and then it just completely falls apart. So it is very sad. Henry didn't die through fighting. He didn't die through these rebellions. He died through disease, and he never really got those castles back. Do you remember his dad sort of stole all his
oh yeah.
castles? Yeah.
I was going to say, when you said that people were kind of gossiping that she had done all this scheming and turned the boys against the dad, I thought, well, actually, he did a pretty good job of that all by himself. And yes, taking away his eldest son's castles and distributing him to the other kids, that's not a great move. So the poor guy fought all of his life and then died in his prime without ever restoring his own power.
No, it's a bit
Ugh,
sad.
it is.
I know. But what this means is that Richard the Lionheart is the second son, becomes next in line to the throne. King Henry, who is still king, is very much clinging on to power, and he's a bit scared, basically, of Richard. And he's scared that Richard will let power go to his head, which is the absolute irony.
Where did he learn it from, Dad?
I was just like, it's a bit rich,
Come
Henry.
on.
It's a bit
Yeah,
rich, Henry,
come
babe.
on.
But don't worry, King Henry has a plan. He thinks the best way to do this, so, we don't want Richard to go power heavy. It's all right. What I can do is I'll give away some of his inheritance. So
That worked so great last time. Let's give that another whirl. My God, the
so
man has not learned.
I know, it's so funny. He gives some of his inheritance to John, who I don't know if you remember was John Lackland last time. So he basically gives John the land he so
Oh, John.
needs.
John's probably like, great, thanks. Amazing.
Well, he does give John Aquitaine, which is very interesting because that's his mama's homeland, isn't it? Which is very easy to do. Because obviously Aquitaine is very important, and it's probably a power play over Eleanor actually as well. It's like, look, actually, who's got the power right now? He even wheels out Eleanor, like makes it into a bit of a PR stunt. So he pops her back up again, and he's like, right, come and give this almost ceremonious giving of Aquitaine to John. Yeah, it's very weird, very awkward. So this is a weird period of their like life, because obviously it's so long that she's been in this captivity, and over that time her family grows up, like everyone ages like 10 to 15 years, and children happen and things change, but Eleanor is still very much locked up inside. On top of that, following Henry dying, she also loses two other children while she's stuck in there. So Geoffrey dies of a jousting accident. Just unfortunate, I guess, spiky
That's
things.
a bad death, yeah.
And then her daughter Matilda, because there's another Matilda, dies to illness. So in 1189, like I said, Matilda dies, and literally days after her death, so this is really a lot of loss in a short amount of time. Literally days after, King Henry's army loses a battle at the Ballons. Henry, he's getting quite poorly by this point. He's aging. He really can see like the end is near, kind of thing. He agrees shortly after that battle that Richard can be the heir to the throne, and he withdraws to his capital at Chinon. And then literally 2 days later, after he makes this call and makes this decision, he dies. So that is,
Wow.
yeah, that's Eleanor's husband, King Henry II, dies while she's still in captivity.
The son that he has now named as his heir is also her child. So
yes.
Okay, I'm hoping this is going to be a change of circumstances for her then.
It's a big thing, isn't it? It's a big thing to the man who captured you and kept you locked away in a tower for 16 years has gone. Surely that's an in. That's the way we can fix this. So Richard is crowned king at Westminster Abbey on the 3rd of September 1189. And what was his first royal act? It was to free his mother.
Yes, Richard. Yes. This is what we're hoping.
So Eleanor emerges from the shadows more powerful than ever. She acts with the king's full authority. Richard is like, I completely trust you, go and do your thing. She ends up using this. A lot of this episode is going to be about PR, basically, but she actually uses this as like a PR exercise. So she travels England, releasing prisoners of all things, because she's like, well, I was locked up, no one else should have to go through that in her 5-star luxury lockup. So she ends up like releasing prisoners throughout the land that her husband put away, and that does two things. One, it reinforces her as a good guy, because it's like, well, I've been through this and I empathize. And the other thing it does is it changes the narrative from like the oppression of King Henry. So she's kind of trying to separate her story and Richard's story from her husband's, basically. She's like, we're very different to them. Look at how different we're doing things.
Like a breath of fresh air. We're coming in, we're making all the things he did wrong right, and we suffered from it ourselves. We know how bad it was.
And it actually works. So she ends up winning the hearts of people up and down the land, and like goes on this tour of like sharing how amazing Richard's going to be, and it's going to be the best thing ever. And she's out there building this loyalty for her son. Very much, like you said, a fresh start, and she's trying to do this completely different narrative. And yeah, there's a quote here that basically just sums up what I've said, but I can cut out what I said. Sorry, I didn't quite read that through.
No, it's cool. Richard's first act after succeeding his father was to set his mother free, ordering that she be allowed to do whatever she wished. What she wished was, among other things, for no one else to endure the brutalities of forced confinement, which she achieved by taking the radical step of emptying the country's jails. Oh, okay. So that kind of builds on what I understood, because I thought maybe she just picked a few select political prisoners and went, he did you wrong, let's let you out, off you go. But what she sounds like she actually did was total fresh start, throw the doors open, let all the prisoners free, and let's see where we're at.
Different articles say different things. So I don't know. And I kind of like the idea of like emptying the country's jail. Sounds pretty strong, but I don't think we're releasing murderers and stuff. I don't know. It's hard to say.
High risk strategy. Like, I can see letting some political prisoners go, but literally releasing everybody is, not necessarily going to end well. But
it's high risk, like you say. It's bold. And if she wants to turn the narrative around, that's one way of doing it, is plunging your empire into complete anarchy. I don't know. We'll see. The other thing she does, which she takes on, and remember that quote also shares that it was her decision. Like, she could do whatever she wanted. She had absolute free reign for the first time, probably in her story. She's got someone being like, I completely trust you. Like, her dad kind of nudged her and showed her the ropes, and it was quite confined. We know that King Louis wouldn't really let her do anything, and she was sat in the background tapping her foot, being like, I could do this so much better. And we know what happened with King Henry is that he went a bit brutal and a bit gaga. And actually, this is the first time she's been allowed to like exercise this muscle that she's been honing her whole life, which is very exciting. And she's not above pettiness, which I absolutely love.
Yes, we love a petty person.
The other thing that she decides to do is put herself in charge of her husband's funeral. She was like, I'll do it. Don't you worry, Richard. You've got an empire to run. I will take this one for the team. And what she does is she organises his tomb. Henry's the tomb. So she's chosen to bury him in Aquitaine, which is fine. But she has made a conscious decision when she's pulled up the plans for the tomb that her husband's tomb will be ever so slightly lower than her tomb. So she gets a slightly bigger tomb and it's slightly above. So she's going to be looking down on him for eternity.
A subtle burn. That's a classy lady. Staying petty, but keeping it low key.
Yeah, it's a subtle burn and it's forever.
I respect the work.
Talk about the last laugh. It was brilliant. It was so petty. It was delightful. Richard's now in charge. He's now the king, and he immediately leads for the Third Crusade. Yes, this is another crusade. This is about the second or third one of our story. They like them. They
They
enjoy
do.
them.
Just leave people alone.
It's a nice hobby to have.
Let's go crusading. Oh, love it.
So while he's away, she acts as Dowager Queen, and she basically runs this empire. Remember, at this point in her story, she's like nudging on 70. Like, this is a long life that she's been leading, and she's actually finally got to do the role that she was always meant to do. Like I said, she gets up to lots of things. She even crosses the Alps to personally deliver Richard's new bride. So Richard's in Sicily. He's trying to occupy Sicily because his sister was married to the king of Sicily. That king recently died, and he's like, oh, that's a nice opportunity. Let me go and see my sister and then try and occupy Sicily at the same time. So he's off doing that, but his mum is like, actually, you need a wife. We need a son. We need to think long term. She's always thinking legacy. And then always thinking long term, what's the future, trying to protect the brand and trying to protect what she's built over all this time. So she delivers and she picks out a bride who is suitable. She's like, I'm not risking this. I'm not letting you pick anyone. You're going to pick someone who is suitable. Very much like happened to her, I imagine, monkey see, monkey do. And she delivers a new bride. Her name is Berengaria. And this is quite, that's quite a big thing in medieval times to go traipsing across the Alps. She does sea, she does horseback, she does mountains, and then she comes back to England, does the same trip back, again, nearly 70, and she returns to England, returns to the court to find that infighting has started again. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Oh, this devil's brood, will they never learn?
So this time it's her youngest son, which is John, who keeps getting given castles, keeps getting given land. So Prince John, he's the most untrustworthy son, which is where the trope Prince John comes from. In Robin Hood, where he like King
Hood.
John. Yeah.
And
that's
look at that. Slimy guy.
He's horrible. And he decides that because Richard's in Sicily, he's like, actually, Richard's dead. He kind of sets up this little gossip. He's like, Richard's not here. I'll run the show. I will be king. And he ends up setting up a rival court. So Eleanor comes back from this exhausting trip, delivering the bride, comes home to see Prince John kicking up a storm. So she has to go and smooth things over between the boys.
She's like, I want to just kick off my shoes, have a cup of tea and a custard cream, and no, I've instead got to squash a rebellion. That's
classic.
Exhausting.
And also, mediation is so tiring and such a skill anyway. So she must have had some level of expertise in that area for it to work. Because it does work. One kind of pipes down for the time being. Okay. ...
Little trailer.
Yes. King Richard, the good son, the happy one we're happy with, lets her do what she wants. He's on his way home, and there's a little excerpt here about what happens next.
Richard was captured on his way home from crusade. She, Eleanor, had to put a lid on the unrest of their dominions, sort out a massive ransom, keep everyone talking to each other, and then head to Germany to pay that ransom. She wrote some excoriating letters to the Pope, which, although polished by her scribe Peter of Blois, bear the ring of truth. She tells the Pope to bind the souls of those who hold my son in prison and set him free. Give my son back to me, if you are a man of God and not a man of blood.
Nice.
She means business.
Exactly. So she's just come home. She sorted John out. Richard's on his way home, and then she's got this whole other problem to deal with.
Dangerous travel is dangerous in that day, and now she's having to travel to Germany with a bag of money. I mean, that is, risky.
And it's a full-on campaign as well. She doesn't do this half-heartedly. So she's trying to influence the Pope, who obviously had a lot of control back then. Richard got caught up in a shipwreck off the coast of Italy, which is the connection. And then eventually he was turned over to the Roman Emperor Henry VI. Another Henry, sorry about that.
There's so many Henrys.
It's insane. It's not even that good a name. The the emperor demanded 100 ransom, which is basically double the revenue of the English crown. So that was double what they were bringing in through taxes and stuff. The ransom was double that. So Eleanor's like, she's not having this. So she pulls all her influential strings. Like you said, she writes letters to the Pope, really quite not moving letters, but quite powerful letters, I guess. Like she really manages to get some movement with that campaigning. The reason she's so hell-bent on doing this is because she knows that Prince John is in the background waiting, because he's already tried once to get in.
Drooling.
Yeah.
It's happening. It's finally happening. He's gone. Oh.
And she's like, no, we're not doing that. So she's trying to hold him back. She actually manages to raise the money for the ransom, which is pretty incredible knowing how much it is with that scale that we've just found. She spins it off to her courts as that it's an act of patriotism, which is a bit icky. It's not great. So she managed to spin it off not as a tax, but if you really loved your king and your kingdom, you'd pay. So
that is clever, isn't it? Because
it's very Trump.
The minute you get one person to cave, then everyone else has to cave, because it's like, oh no, it's happening and I don't want to be the one who didn't give. And then he comes back and he's like, I see you.
It's also leveraging all that work she did a few years before in terms of touring the country, resetting the narrative, all of that stuff. She's kind of reaping what she sowed from way back when, which is really good as well.
Nice.
By releasing prisoners and all that kind of stuff, she's definitely seen as a good leader. And it all worked. Richard was finally released in 1194. So Richard solidified his power and reigns on. Obviously, I imagine there's lots of rebellions happening at the same time. And he reigns on until he is killed by a young boy with a crossbow during a siege of a minor castle, just a little castle. Isn't that mad that he survived all that?
Needless.
Yeah, survived all that. And then this young kid with a crossbow goes, pew, and that's it. You go.
Dangerous times, man.
It's heavy. He actually died in Eleanor's arms, apparently, and didn't have any heirs at the time. So, who are we left with? All the children are, they're dying off through many different means, but this leaves little Luckland John as king, little Prince John.
Oh no.
He's the last one left, right? And it takes Eleanor a while to get on board with this new situation that she's in, but he is the final surviving son. It was a choice between him or his son, who's called Arthur, which is a slightly different name, but both of them have been known for conspiring with the French throughout history. Like their mum's ex is over there, he's having children, it's very much a conspiracy is happening. But she did back John, and when she, like, the theme throughout all this is she does something, she does it well, and she's like, right, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this properly. So she again starts arranging marriages, pulling these strings, securing her future of the empire, that one eye always on legacy. She actually crosses the Pyrenees in 1200. At this point she's 80.
My God.
80 years old.
Oh, that is not comfortable travel in that age either. So, wow.
Committed, determined. She's not letting this go.
We complain about EasyJet, but she's in like a little wooden horse-drawn whatnot. Oh, God, no.
It's mad, absolutely mad. The reason she does this is she wants to collect her granddaughter, who is called Blanche. Oh. It's so funny. Like, you can't make it up.
Blanche.
So Princess Blanche from the
like the Golden Girls.
Yes.
Okay. So I've internalized that now. Sorry.
We're going to collect Blanche. So she can marry a daughter of the French king, and the hope is that to ensure peace, basically, between
knit the empires
she's like, we're
together.
Gonna wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
In the same year of this, she also does what will be her final act of leadership. She travels from Aquitaine, where she is based, and she rallies forces against her own rebellious grandson, who we've already mentioned, Arthur, who is just a little shit, basically. He's just still stirring away, and he's going against his dad, now King John. He's wanting to upset
Ugh.
his dad, of course. She allows King John to capture Arthur. And she helps John do that and secure the territory. So again, she's protecting that empire. And then she eventually decides to retire to an abbey in Aquitaine, taking vows as a nun and living in a relatively quiet life until her death at 82. So right at the end, there's this very different vibe. And yeah, it's very interesting. And the reason I guess she had that mad surf of energy between like 70 and 80 years old, I guess is because she was locked up for so long. She was
So
like,
she had been sort of
suppressed,
held back for a decade, and she had a decade's worth of business to get done.
She's like, I'm on it. Let me at it. Yeah.
Age is just a number. Let's get it done.
Yeah. And also, like, I guess then she didn't have, in a nunnery, I guess there's lots of you. Maybe she just wanted that company and that community aspect. A little bit maybe that we spoke about with the Courts of Love last episode as well. She maybe wanted that vibe a little bit more. I don't know.
That's true, because then it's like a community and, working together towards something positive. And it must have been such a relief after so much, strategizing and suppressing gnarly conflict to just go, shall we just tend an herb garden now? Shall we just do that instead? Sing Vespers or whatever. Like, yeah, go for it. You've earned it.
And I wonder what was the catalyst to make that decision, because that is such a drastic change in terms of vibe.
I wonder if Arthur being a brat, just like, for fuck's sake, haven't I done enough?
The straw. He was the straw that broke the camel's back, right?
I'm 80, leave me alone.
And I don't know, maybe because John was definitely the least favourite to have the throne, and she's like, well, you deal with it now. This is the stuff I was dealing with. Off you go, my friend. So yeah, she has a very nice herb garden, little retirement for a couple of years, which is very sweet. So Eleanor of Aquitaine didn't just survive the Middle Ages, she basically authored them. She became the inspiration for many characters throughout the year, from Shakespeare characters all the way to most recently in Game of Thrones, where Eleanor Tyrell was the Queen of Thorns. Do they have queens there? Queen of Thorns.
Yeah. And I see it. I see the parallels. Right. Yeah, lots of, sort of what wisdom and power, but at a remove. So putting the pieces on the board and then moving them subtly so that things play out the way that you want, but never seeming to be. Oh, love it.
Oh, that's very good. That's the second or third time a Game of Thrones reference has come up, and I'm always a bit like,
that bro did not make up anything. He just pulled in all these different things and went, I'm going to put it in and then throw in some dragons. Done.
Bish, bash, bosh, make me a millionaire. So essentially, she, like we said before, she became the grandmother of Europe. She wove her bloodline into the very fabric of the continent, birthing kings and queens, outmaneuvering every man who tried to cage her, whether it's short-term or long-term. She did tame the devil's brood and redrew the map of history, leaving behind a blueprint of female power that still echoes from the pages of modern screens, including Game of Thrones. Eleanor wasn't just a witness to history, she was one of its architects. And that is the story wrap-up of Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Outstanding. What a fascinating character. And having just seen Henry V, all those themes about, trying to consolidate power through war and marriage and suppress uprisings and, maybe that thing where you expect children to all pull together with the family agenda.
Family trauma is like off the charts.
If the dad had been nicer to John, what a different outcome. He could have just been kind.
Yep. And,
fascinating.
I went to the pub quiz on Wednesday and I said to you one of the questions was Eleanor of Aquitaine. I got really excited. And it was, who did she marry second, basically? And it was a multiple choice. And it said King Henry II or King Henry V. And I wrote down, you're going to hate me, I wrote down King Henry V first because me and you had been spoken about your trip to Stratford. I was looking at the answer and I was like, "Fifth's quite late. Am I sure it's the fifth?" And I was trying to like do the kings in my head, and I was like, "No." I quickly changed it to the second before we handed our pictures in. But I was just like, "Oh my god! Imagine if I got that wrong."
It is embarrassing, isn't it?
It is like a whole day researching it, 2 hours like talking about it, and still didn't get the right damn Henry because there's so many.
That did not happen. You
did not happen. I
caught
myself.
You reasoned it out. Nice.
I caught myself with all these bloody Henrys. So
too many.
What a massive story, and she definitely eked out every last bit of her years, didn't she? For sure.
Yeah, she put things in place that would have gone long beyond her. And I hope in her retirement she's like, I have done enough. I have done what I could, and I've made these marriages and these these structures, and hopefully that will last.
And also, I guess the other thing about a nunnery is that there's no men. Maybe she was just sick of all these men trying to like outdo each other and outmaneuver each other, and maybe she was just over it. I don't know. Like it's because it is so far removed, isn't it, from building an empire?
None of the doings that she had as a result of those men in her family were like, yeah, we're going to work together to do this wonderful thing. It was always like, oh my God, what have they done now? Why are they fighting? We're all good. Like, so yeah, I could see that. She might have just been fed up and thought, enough is enough, people. Stop that now.
And if we can take any lesson, maybe that's the lesson we should take.
Let them have at it. Yeah, just walk away. Sure. Do an herb garden with your girlfriends and let them have at it. Hey, you were planting herbs this morning, weren't you? So there you go.
We're so on theme today.
You are absolutely.
It's interlocking, isn't it? It's good. It's meant to be. So thank you so much for listening. That was the story of Eleanor.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of She Changed History. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Find us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you've got any ideas of women you'd like us to cover in a future episode, please comment on the socials or email us at shechangedhistory@gmail.com. Catch you next time.